Black 100 recently spoke about you, and he says you're next.
I was just saying.
Reports are swirling that Yanni Ace's life is about to unravel after Jacksonville's sheriff, TK Waters, called him out in a press conference. The sheriff had a direct message for Yanni Ace and his crew, ATK, following the arrest of Julio Fulio's associates. It's no secret that Yanni Ace's group has been under constant watch in Jacksonville, with law enforcement always keeping a close eye on them. While Sheriff Waters didn't go into details about the ongoing investigation, he made it clear that the Jacksonville Police Department is handling it. Things got even more heated when Yanni Ace was brought in for questioning over an incident involving Julio Fulio. The drama took off after a video from an underground artist went viral. In that video, a Jacksonville rapper boldly claimed responsibility for targeting Julio Fulio, saying he was the one who slapped him during his birthday celebration. The rapper didn't show his face but went all in, saying, "On everything I love, bro. On my homies. I swear on my soul. On my kids. I did that. It was money on his head, and I'm the one who did it." This is a messy situation with a lot at stake, and it's clear that the drama in Jacksonville is far from over. The statement echoed in the room like a bombshell dropped with no warning. The person speaking wasn't just talking about any typical street beef. They were delving into something deeper, something personal. "I'm rocking with Ace and the boys. ATK, you feel me? Always in Jacksonville, putting in work. If you know, you know. But yeah, I did it. Ace had that 10K on his head and told me to handle it. He was tired of Julio talking too much, so it had to go down. Simple as that. You feel me?" At first glance, these words seemed like the typical bravado that sometimes accompanies street life. But as the details began to unfold, it became clear that this was something much bigger and far more dangerous. What the speaker was describing wasn't just a random act. It was a calculated move in a war of egos, territory, and vengeance. In Jacksonville, Florida, a city known for its gritty streets and its underworld ties, the rivalry between Ace and Julio had been brewing for a while. The streets weren't just about survival, they were about respect. Ace, a well-known figure in the ATK, Ace's Team Killers crew, had reached a breaking point. Julio, a rival rapper, had been too vocal, too disrespectful. According to the individual making the statement, Ace had enough. The words had been thrown back and forth in songs, insults had been hurled online, and the tension had reached a boiling point. The talk of a 10K on his head wasn't a metaphor. It was a literal contract, a bounty that Ace had placed on Julio's life. The 10K was a price tag for someone to take Julio out. As ruthless as it sounds, this was the type of business being discussed, a deal sealed not in the boardrooms, but on the streets, where words were backed up by action. The statement also made it clear that this wasn't some impulsive decision. "I did it," the speaker said, confirming their involvement. There was no hesitation, no second thoughts, just a cold execution of a mission. He was tired of Julio talking too much, so it had to go down. In the world these individuals inhabited, the rules were simple. Disrespects were dealt with swiftly, and there was no room for tolerance. But it wasn't just about fulfilling a hit. The speaker's words carried an air of pride. This was not just about completing a job, but about establishing dominance. Always in Jacksonville, putting in work. "If you know, you know," the speaker said, positioning themselves as a soldier in this battle for power. They were affirming their loyalty to Ace and the ATK crew, signaling that this wasn't just a job, it was part of a larger, ongoing war. The mention of putting in work was crucial, as it alluded to a history of violence and retaliation in Jacksonville, where the streets were ruled by power dynamics that were constantly shifting. The back and forth, the bickering, and the tension between Ace and Julio were more than just words exchanged on tracks. They were now a full-fledged battle, with lives hanging in the balance. The 10K was a symbol, not just of a price to be paid for Julio's life, but of the larger issue of reputation, respect, and dominance within a harsh world where survival often meant going to extreme lengths. As chilling as it was, this admission painted a clear picture of the cold realities of street life. A simple insult or disrespect could lead to violence, and it wasn't just a one-time thing. The stakes were high, and in this world, it wasn't just about being tough. It was about making sure you were never seen as weak. In the end, the statement wasn't just about a hit on Julio. It was a declaration that in the streets, respect had to be earned. And once you lost it, there was no turning back. But things are getting crazy now. The police are coming hard after Yung Joc Ace, trying to shut down his business and stop his money flow. They've been canceling all of his concerts since they found out he's linked to the deaths of Alicia, Shan, Rashad, and David. 5 people have already been arrested in connection with those deaths. Ace, however, is not having it. I don't even know how they do this, but they always find a way to cancel my shows. What's the deal with that? Why y'all canceling my shows? I don't even live in Jacksonville. Why come after me? With the pressure on, Ace is frustrated and confused, but it's clear the situation's heating up and he's feeling the heat from every direction. Man, they really trying to mess with my money, like they're trying to mess with my life. They're all up in my business, worried about what I got going on. I don't even mess with them, but they're out here canceling all my shows. I had a show in Tampa, and they canceled that too. But I still had to show them I ain't going nowhere. I showed up in Virginia, and we kept it moving. But Yung Joc Ace knows things are getting real now, so he had to switch things up. With the feds breathing down his neck, he took some advice from Lil Baby and made a big move. ATK? That's over with. Ain't no more of that. No more talking, no more flexing. Everyone always got something to say, but when it's time to pay up, where are they at? They got nothing to say when it's time to put their money where their mouth is. Ace knows the heat is on, and in a viral comment, he shared that he's been watching Lil Baby's interview, and he's aware that the feds are closing in. Even DJ Academics said that Ace is next in line. And if that wasn't enough, Whack 100 recently had something to say about him, adding to the tension. It's clear now, things are only heating up for Ace, and he's got his eyes wide open. You're next. Why would you even say that, bro? What's the deal with that? Was he wishing something bad on me, or was he just thinking about how things usually play out? In this game, people go after the big names, right? If they take out Julio, then who's next in line? It seems like they're just trying to climb the ranks by taking out the biggest targets. And then, people started talking about Yung Joc Ace's life and all the struggles he's been through. His brother was tragically killed a few years ago in a brutal ambush. He was leaving a restaurant when a group of people came for him. Yung Joc Ace recalls the terrifying moment. I tried to open the door, but I couldn't move. I was pushing, but I couldn't get out. My brother was telling me, I can't move, man. Yung Joc Ace's operations have been under fire more than once, and now, according to the latest police reports, they're zeroing in on him. Born on June 21, 1998, Julio found himself in a targeted ambush by rival gangs one Sunday morning in Tampa. What should have been a weekend celebration for his birthday quickly turned into a nightmare. After he got to his Airbnb, everything went wrong, and it became the worst day of his life. Julio and his crew were ready to kick off the weekend, so they rented an Airbnb and started making noise on Instagram. He posted, "Yo, if you got the address, pull up. If you need it, DM me right now. The pool party starts at 5 or 6, don't miss it." He shared again, "We just got here, man. You know what it is. Tampa, Florida? Let's go. If you've got the address, pull up. The party's on." For the next couple of hours, Julio was showing off the party inside the Airbnb, posting pictures and videos on Instagram, letting everyone know how lit things were. But little did he know, while he was hyping up the scene, his crew was quietly preparing something much darker. It was one of the first major mistakes Julio made, broadcasting his exact location to millions of people. An hour later, Julio posted again, but this time he wasn't as confident. "I don't know if anything's gonna happen, but we still vibing," he wrote, not realizing the tension was building fast. As soon as that post went up, the police showed up at the Airbnb, putting a sudden stop to everything. After Julio and his crew got kicked out of the Florida Airbnb, he didn't miss a beat. He dropped the address of a local club, like he was trying to set a record for how many times he could share his location in one weekend. When they got there, Julio wasn't shy about it. He posted again on Instagram, letting everyone know exactly where he was sitting in the upstairs lounge. "It's my birthday, man. Everybody's coming. We lit everywhere we go." He hyped up, making sure his followers knew he was living it up. When they finished at the club, Julio and his crew hung out in the parking lot. His manager started looking around for a place to stay and spotted a nearby Holiday Inn. This gave Julio's rivals the chance to start making their move without them knowing. Things got tense fast. Rival cars packed with street people armed with guns started trailing Julio's group. Everything went quiet for a second, and then suddenly, chaos hit. Some of Julio's crew got tased as the attackers closed in, all while their main focus was finding Julio. The night that was supposed to be a celebration quickly turned to a dangerous situation. What would happen next? No one knew for sure, but one thing was clear: things were about to get real. On the 23rd of the month, the tension in Jacksonville reached new heights. That was the same day Julio dropped his diss track When I See You, a direct jab at Young Ace for losing his brothers. In the song, Julio didn't hold back, aiming his lyrics at Ace, showing that he wasn't backing down from their beef. But as expected, Ace wasn't going to let that slide. Hours after Julio's track was out, the same group that had hit Julio's crew on his birthday came back with a vengeance. This time, they attacked 4 people. Tragically, one of them didn't make it, while the others were left hurt. The attack felt like a direct response to Julio's words, and it wasn't just about music anymore, it was personal. As the situation unfolded, Ace's crew didn't stop there. They confronted someone who had been repeating Julio's lyrics, even going as far as to physically punish them for it. This was no longer just a rap battle. It was a full-blown street war. Around 6 hours later, the news of the attack hit. But instead of staying quiet, Yung Ace dropped his own diss track aimed straight at Julio, making it clear that he was just getting started. Ace's right-hand guy took it further by sharing an old tweet from King Von on Instagram, sending a warning to anyone who thought this feud was over. Things were getting crazier by the day. Just a month ago, Julio had sat down for an interview, talking about the escalating tension in Jacksonville. But now, everything seemed to be boiling over, and no one knew how far it would go. The feud was becoming a dangerous game with no clear end in sight. The story took an unexpected turn when it was revealed that a song was being worked on to bring both sides together and stop the violence. The goal was simple: create a song that would send a strong message to end the ongoing conflict, especially for the younger generation. Despite all the harsh words that had been said, the idea was to put out something positive. Even though I said what I said about bro, me and Breezy are working on a Stop the Violence song. We gotta make things better, man, for the kids, for the youth. Yeah, we gotta make this better, one of the artists shared, hinting at their intentions to heal the divide. The conversation soon turned to Mitch. What do you know about Mitch? They asked, pressing for answers. Julio, who was in Miami when he first heard the news, explained that he was making music and only found out about Mitch's death later. The investigators wasted no time. They started asking about Julio's connection to Mitch. They wanted to know how they knew each other, how close they were, and where Julio was when Mitch passed away. I'm leading the investigation into your friend's case, one of the officers said. I don't know how close you were, but can you tell me about your relationship with Mitch? When did you meet, and how long did you know him? Julio understood the police already had an idea about his connection to Mitch, but he kept his answers vague. He didn't want to give them anything concrete. Despite their pressure, Julio stuck to his story and didn't reveal much about his relationship with Mitch. The officers were trying to gather information, but Julio wasn't giving them what they wanted. The officer asked Julio directly about Mitch's death. You've lost a lot of friends recently, including Mitch. How close were you to him? Can you tell me about your relationship with him? Julio quickly denied any involvement, but the questioning didn't stop there. The officers were trying to figure out if Julio's music played a role in the crime happening around his neighborhood. Do you think the way you're putting yourself out there in your music has anything to do with this? They asked. Julio didn't hesitate. No, he replied. Things were like this even before I started rapping. You can't just blame my music for all of this. The officers pressed again, wondering if his back and forth with others in his songs might be influencing people. Do you think your music could be triggering someone? They asked. Julio shook his head and said, "No, a song can't make someone do something like this." But some people weren't buying it. They felt that Julio was lying to the authorities, and his answers only raised more questions. The idea that Mitch's death could be tied to revenge for ATK. Mitch's death back in 2020 seemed to make sense to some, but Julio stuck to his story, not giving the cops any solid answers. As the interview went on, the tension grew. Many were frustrated with Julio's responses, feeling like he was holding back the truth. Whether his music influenced the violence or not, the question still lingered. What was really going on behind all this?